In your headlines, during a segment of the DDME's press conference, officials spoke on shelter management with the mitigation of COVID-19. Over 20 students are receiving necessary attention and care at Ashley's Learning Center. From the PTV Broadcasting Headquarters in Providenciales, your number one source for news, I'm Erica Pinales, delivering the latest from across the country this Thursday, June 16th, 2022, right to your door. Newswatch starts now. President of the African Development Bank Group has shared some insights on how growth can be achieved even during this time of global crisis. Details in this report.
Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, president of the African Development Bank, is currently in the Turks and Caicos Islands to attend the 52nd Annual General Meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB. Virtual meetings started earlier this month with several panel discussions and meet the press sit-downs. June the 15th marked the official opening of the meetings here on island at the Ritz-Carlton. On Tuesday morning, Dr. Adesina sat down with Caribbean journalist Julian Rogers as a precursor to the upcoming William G. Demas Lecture, where he will speak on the topic, Development in a Context of Global Challenges, Experiences and Lessons from the African Development Bank. The main thrust of Dr. Adesina's presentation will be agriculture and food security, and how the Caribbean region can emulate the successes of the African region.
You spend a lot of time in the area of agriculture. You talk about poverty now, and I want to get a sense now of, at a time when we're talking about food security, particularly now a hot topic here in the Caribbean, but definitely a worldwide concern. Your experience in that sector and its impact, as you see it, on what the challenges are today?
You know, it's so interesting. You need fuel for your car, right? You need gas to be able to cook things, but you actually need food for your body, So there's no human being that can exist without food. So I always like to say that the biggest industry in the world is the food and agriculture business, right? And so all that I've tried to do all through my career is to get people to understand that this is the biggest industry. And to do that, of course, throughout my career, I've worked hard to make sure that we get young people into agriculture, that they understand that agriculture is not a way of life. It's a business, a mega business. If you take the case of Africa, for example, the size of the food and agriculture market by 2030 will be worth a whopping $1 trillion, right? So people, nobody drinks smokes gas, and nobody drinks oil, but everybody eats food. So that's very, very important. And in fact, since I've been here, I've been talking to the Premier and also talking to the President of the Caribbean Development Bank about what we can do to make sure that we can actually help the Caribbean countries to increase the productivity of their agriculture, diversify their agriculture base, get young people into agriculture, and have value chains that can create wealth from the bottom up.
One of the things Julian Rogers asked the bank's president to speak on was the recent news that Guyana has offered a number of Caribbean countries the opportunity to acquire and use land in that CARICOM country in order to produce for themselves. Specifically, Rogers asked him how the region can rid itself of the stigma attached to working the land. That seems to be one of the reasons young people are unwilling to get involved in this industry.
You talk about involving young people, and young people in our Caribbean area are not readily attracted to agriculture. Is that the same thing in your experience?
Well, I think because, people grew up in rural areas, they saw a lot of people that were poor, those people being farmers, and they just decided they're not going to be in agriculture. Yes, but in fact, when you look at it, the first thing you have to do is to get young people to see that agriculture is a business. When I was Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria, I transformed all of that. You see me, I look cool with my bow ties, right? In fact, when I was actually going to be screened to be Minister of Agriculture in Nigeria, some of the senators asked me, are you going to be screened for Minister of Finance or is it Minister of Agriculture? I said Minister of Agriculture because agriculture is the coolest profession you ever found, right? And so it's getting people to understand that it's a big market. Whether you producing tomatoes or you're producing oranges, you're producing guava, you're producing rice and whatever it is that you're producing, or maize, you're processing it, you're adding value to it, you're selling packaged foods. And that's what people buy.
We'll bring you more of Dr. Adesina's interview as well as his presentation throughout the week at the upcoming William Demas Lecture. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
During the question and answer segment of the DDME's press conference, officials spoke on shelter management with the mitigation of COVID-19. Newswatch has the details.
Well, with the shelters, I see that we have about 23 named shelters throughout the Turks and Islands. We completed the inspection already. We are finalizing the name list to submit to the public. That should be done in a matter of days.
Acting Director of the Department of Disaster Management and Emergencies, Michael Clairvaux, says when it comes to risk management in the spread of COVID-19 during shelter, measures are put in place to curb the spread as much as possible.
The reality is COVID is still with us. Within our shelter management training, we have been putting measures in place to train our shelter managers to be able to test for COVID. And in the shelter itself, if anybody, while testing before they enter, we discovered that they are infected by COVID, we have a location within the shelter to quarantine them from the rest of the population. We still will be requiring a person to bring their mask and use sanitization as well. So those are things we have in place since last year.
Minister of Immigration with responsibility for disaster management and emergencies, Honorable Arlington Musgrove, also encourages persons, regardless of their status, to seek shelter if necessary.
We encourage everyone who needs shelter to please come to the shelter and ahead of the time. I think the government will give an alert once we get that from DDME. We encourage everyone who doesn't have a place to be, who think their house is unsafe, the people who are living in the bushes, please, we encourage you to come into the shelter, because we will not arrest you, because we want your life to be saved.
Government also discussed ways in which they could assist residents with preparations for the 2022 hurricane season.
And yesterday afternoon we met for a few hours and we discussed ways that we can implement, especially the bread basket items, that we can help people in these times. We also having a meeting with the Minister for Infrastructure to discuss the ways that the inventory that PPID has, work department has really, to the aftermath of the hurricane, to if there's a hurricane, to see if we can clean up the debris.
Officials say the 2022 hurricane season shelters list will be issued shortly and encourage residents to download the app to stay abreast on storm news.
It's time for a quick break. More News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Welcome back to Newswatch. June is Men's Health Awareness Month, and the Ministry of Health has rolled out a slew of activities to commemorate the month.
Calling all men to the front of the line If you think you've got what it takes to be the TCI's next cook-off champion, then call the Ministry of Health to register to be a part of the competition. The ministry promises this year will be better than ever, with loads of prizes and surprises, too numerous to mention. The competition, dubbed the Men in the Galley, is part of the month of observances to celebrate and encourage men and get them thinking about their health. The ministry is joining this year with 100 men of the Turks and Caicos Islands to pull off this year's series of events under the theme Promoting and Building Healthy Lives for Men and Boys. Events kick off with a men's health walk from the town center mall in Providenciales to the Susie Turn roundabout, then back to the mall. This will take place on Saturday, June 18th at 5:30 a.m. Later that morning, a men's health conference and panel discussion with visiting and local doctors will be held at the Graceway Sports Center from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. On Monday, the 20th, there will be a health fair at the Hearst Stable Beach in North Caicos, to be followed by another health fair the next day, this time in Grand Turk at the Yellowman Conference Center in the nation's capital. On Wednesday, there will be health screening and testing at the Medical Center on South Caicos from 11 to 3 p.m., with several other activities to be conducted on all islands. These are prostate cancer education and PSA screening, prevention and controlling heart disease, prevention and controlling diabetes, monitoring your own blood pressure, and foot care. Visiting physicians are Dr. Antoine Keller, a cardiovascular and thoracic and endovascular surgeon, Dr. James Bennett, a urologist and prostate cancer specialist, and Dr. Eric Briggs, community medicine. The month of June is all about encouraging men to take care of their bodies by eating right, exercising, and working to prevent disease. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Atz.
Over 20 students are receiving necessary attention and care at Ashley's Learning Center. Whether diagnosed with autism or other related challenges, the center helps to provide medical care, education opportunities, as well as other development resources. Newswatch with the latest. CIBC First Caribbean recently supported Ashley's Learning Center through a donation to the Hope Foundation for Autism Awareness. The nonprofit organization provides support for parents, community awareness, and hope to all those affected by autism by supporting all causes related to children with special needs, especially those on the autism spectrum. Director and chairman of the Hope Foundation, Maxia L. Rigby, accepted the bank's donation with gratitude and expressed how much it means to the organization's work, saying, quote, "The donation that CIBC First Caribbean has given to the Hope Foundation means a lot to the students at the Ashley's Learning Center. These funds are going to assist with providing scholarships to families who have difficulty sending their children to school. Statistics currently show that 1 in 44 children, mainly boys, are diagnosed with autism." Mrs. Rigby underscored that parents need support and training while children need assistance and intervention. She noted that Ashley's Learning Center has a day and evening program to meet the needs of students and emphasized that children solely staying at home should not be an option because this often leads to digression in development. Mrs. Rigby continued, "We were established to bridge the gap between awareness and support for parents and bringing awareness to the community with regards to the foundation and autism, as well as children receiving diagnosis and intervention." CIBC First Caribbean's Turks and Caicos Islands country head Terrence Gibson praised the Hope Foundation for nearing its 10th year of operation with unwavering passion and perseverance, saying, quote, "Since 2013, the Hope Foundation has made significant strides for numerous children, their families, communities, and TCI at large. Its initiatives cover physical, mental, emotional, and social needs and spreads awareness. As you plan more workshops, fundraising activities, community events, and more, CIBC First Caribbean is more than happy to support you," end quote. Coming up next is your Sports Authority and weather forecast.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
The TCI Sports Commission is broadening its campaign for athlete development, this time in the form of a long-term athlete development symposium. The event is under the patronage of the Minister of Sport, Honorable Rachel Taylor. The 2-day event runs from the 17th to the 18th of June. The Deputy Director of the Sports Commission, Alvin Parker, shares that they aim to distribute actionable advice to sports stakeholders.
One is the Long-Term Athlete Development Fund. It's a fund where we hope to raise funds to help athletes in their long-term development, be it here or abroad. Secondly, it's with parents and athletes, we hope to educate them more of the importance of them two working together and what is needed and wouldn't for a long-term athlete development plan from the parents' perspective, because they do play a key role in all of it. And also for federations, we hope to provide them with a kind of a roadmap on what it means for long-term athlete development, help to better get them to be more organized and structured. So it's a number of things we look to provide and hope that they walk away with from the symposium.
The public and private sectors are being strongly encouraged to come out and support Saturday's event.
For the long-term development fund portion, we hope to have a lot of the private sector to come out and take part, understand what role they can play in helping us to develop our athletes, supporting athletes, members of government and various agencies. We're encouraging them also to come out again to find out how they play a role in helping us to develop athletes, to podium athletes.
Fionn Hicks became TCI's first ever NFL drafted player earlier this year. He joins a roster of speakers inclusive of Colin Higgs, a professor at Emeritus School of Human Kinetics, and FINA's certified instructor and former director of the National Academy in Barbados, Dave Farmer. Alvin shared that the commission hopes stakeholders benefit from the wealth of knowledge passed on this weekend.
We hope that after this conference that our coaches will be more inspired, athletes, parents would be more inspired, have a roadmap on how to better structure their organizations so that they can maximize all the support that they receive, and also maximize and truly develop a development plan for the athletes.
For your Sports Authority, I'm Ali Carvey.
Here's your weather forecast for June 17th, 2022. For the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Friday, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east-southeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For South Caicos, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour. For North and Middle Caicos, partly cloudy skies, high 84, low 79, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. For Parrot and Pine Key, partly cloudy skies, high 85, low 79, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And on Providence Yalis, partly cloudy skies, high 85, low 79, winds east at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now for your sunrise and sunset. Sunrise at 6:07 a.m., sunset at 7:35 p.m. And for your high tides and low tides, high tide is at 10:49 a.m., 11:14 p.m., and low tides 4:45 a.m., 4:50 p.m. And for your hurricane outlook, for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, a trough of low pressure located inland near the northeastern border of Nicaragua and Honduras is accompanied by a disorganized area of showers and thunderstorms. Some development is also possible over the southern bay of Campeche by early next week. Regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall is possible over Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, and southeastern Mexico through the weekend. And that's it for your weather forecast and hurricane outlook. We'll be right back for more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future. I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
This story has so much valid information that we thought we'd run it again just in case you missed it. Dr. Joy St. John, Executive Director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, quote, "However, the risk of spread to the Caribbean region is likely as travel is returning to pre-COVID-19 pandemic levels. It is therefore important that CARPA member states raise awareness in frontline health workers and be on the alert for possible importation of cases so they can initiate a quick public health response," end quote. Newswatch learns that CARPA has signed an agreement with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to refer suspected samples from their member states for testing while they are in the process of procuring the necessary reagents to be able to implement molecular testing for monkeypox. Results may be received between 10 to 14 days after the arrival of samples at CARPA once referred to the CDC. In the interim, a commercial kit, monkeypox virus, real-time PCR kit produced by BioPerfectus Technologies, is in transit and once received, CARPA says it will be verified for immediate use. If member states have suspected cases, CARPA advises they should contact for information on sending suspect samples. Dr. Lisa Indar, Director of Disease Surveillance, Prevention and Control, urges member states to remain vigilant for the importation of viral or other infections and monitor in-country syndromic surveillance systems for increases in fever and rash illness. Additionally, she believes member states should enhance surveillance and case investigation for monkeypox, alert port health officials to be vigilant for possible cases entering the country, and develop and disseminate public education materials on monkeypox as a re-emerging zoonosis. The availability of the smallpox vaccine in CARPA member states may be limited given that smallpox was declared eradicated by the WHO in 1980, and it has been more than 40 years since all countries ceased routine smallpox vaccination with vaccinia-based vaccines. Symptoms of monkeypox include exhaustion, fever, headache, backache, muscle ache, chills, and swollen lymph nodes. If you have close physical contact with someone who is showing symptoms, you can get monkeypox. This includes touching and being face-to-face. Dr. St. John advises that persons should avoid having close contact with anyone who has symptoms. Persons should protect themselves by practicing good hand hygiene, clean hands, objects, and surfaces that have been touched regularly, and avoiding skin-to-skin or face-to-face contact, including sexual contact with anyone who has symptoms. If you think that you may have symptoms or have been in close contact with someone with the virus, contact your physician for advice and medical care. CARPA is monitoring the spread of the disease and the scientific understanding of prevention and control as it evolves over time. Should monkeypox be identified in the region, CARPA will test samples from suspected cases, monitor the spread, and provide assistance to its member states through the creation of tools for investigation and epidemiological monitoring, and personnel are prepared to respond in country to assist in the investigation and control of a monkeypox outbreak should the need arise. And that brings us to the end of this edition of The Real News. I hate to leave you so soon, but of course, you can join us right back here every weekday at 6:30 p.m. and tap into our social media platforms at www.ptv8tci.com. I'm Erica Pinales, keeping you informed, updated, and affiliated. Until next time.